Hola clase, hoy vamos a hacer negative to command. So al otro día nosotros hicimos affirmative mandatos, mandatos afirmativos. So today we're going to do the negative. So following along with the cheat sheet is going to make your life much more simple. And so I'm just going to start right off the bat to break it down for you. So remember with affirmative commands, you just use the third person singular when you want to make a command. So for example, comer would become come, doblar would be dobla. So for negative though, there's a whole different process that we have to go through, and it's really important to stick to that because it changes the outcome if you don't put it in the yo form. So that's the first thing we're going to do. So let's put doblar in the yo form. It becomes doblo. The next thing you have to do is drop the O. So this is your stem, D-O-B-L. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky, is that for negative to commands, you have to add the opposite ending. So for example, if it's an AR verb, you have to give it an ER-IR verb ending. Talk about confusing. Ay, Dios mío. So I know, I spent so much time memorizing my endings, and then to learn that when I do another thing, I have to add the opposite. So yes, it does take attention to detail and time to learn this, and that's okay. So with that being said, our opposite ending is ES. And so if I put this together, it would become no dobles. And it's important to put the no in front of it because that's what makes it a negative command. And that also affects the ending. So let's do comer. It would become como, com. The opposite ending of an ER to ending would be AS. And so I guess I should clarify too, it does get the opposite ending of the to form, okay? So the to singular form. And then that would become no comas. Salir, and this is why it's important to put it in the yo form, so that the consistency forever how they had this done. So salir would become salgo. So it's one of those go verbs. So then you drop the O, you have sal, you add the opposite ending, no salgas. So hopefully you guys are getting the gist of it. So volver, so this is why it's important to put it in the yo form too, because it helps with any stem changers. In the present tense, O changes to UE, so it's vuelvo. You drop the O, you add the opposite ending, and it becomes no vuelvas. Again, servir has an E to I change, stem change, when you conjugate it in the present tense, so it becomes servo. Serve, no servas. And then conducir, conduzco. So again, why it's important to put it in the yo form. Conduzco, conduzc, no conduzcas. Okay, so vamos a continuar. I know you guys have decir, but I'm going to hold off on that one for a second so you can just skip over it. Ooh, funny business going on here. Okay, so you, for B, infinitives that end in CAR, GAR, and ZAR also have a spelling change in their negative to forms. So for example, buscar, which means to look for. If I went through the whole process, busco, drop the O. C then changes to QU and it becomes no busque. So of course in Spanish, siempre hay irregulares. There's always irregulars. Pagar, to pay. So if it ends in a GAR, pago, I drop the O. My stem is pag. G changes to GU, no pagues. And then almorzar, verbs that end in ZAR. Almuerza, almuerce, no almuerces. Oh, it should be no almuerces. Okay, so you have those changes as well. So it's always good to have these in front of you because it helps with irregulares. And of course, there's irregulares when it comes to the negative command forms as well. And thankfully, there is only cinco. There's only 5 of them. But dar becomes no des. Estar becomes no estés, con un acento, muy importante, tus acentos. Ir is no vayas. saber, no sepas, and ser, no seas. So again, so many different irregulars, so it's so important just to practica, ten paciencia, have patience, and the more you do it, the easier it gets. So that's a huge part of it too. So if you can have practice with a native speaker, that's really going to help your Spanish when it comes to practice. And especially commands can be pretty easy to learn once you use them over and over again. Decir, which is up above, and I think I get to it maybe down here. It's not an irregular, but it's one of my favorite sayings. So right now we're going to practice positive and negative commands just because we did the positive the other day. So the affirmative command for decir is di. The negative is digas, or no digas. So remember, you put it in the yo form, you drop the o, and you add the opposite ending. So una frase muy popular en español is no me digas. So for example, you could say, man, I was driving today, my brakes didn't work. And I'd be like, no me digas, right? You don't say. So that is a really common phrase in Spanish, and I use it all the time, and I love it. Hacer, haz, en el afirmativo, en el negativo, no hagas. So right now we're just practicing, right? So servir, serve, no sirvas. Ir, ve, no vayas. Poner, pon, no pongas. Tomar, which is to drink or to take. Toma, no tomes. Dormir, duerme, the O to UE stem change there. No duermas. Say, no seas. Comer en el positivo, come, no comas. Tener, ten cuidado, no tengas. Ven, no vengas, no vengas. Buscar, so we just did this one, so hopefully it's fresh in your mind. El afirmativo, busca. El negativo, no busques. So vamos a practicar un poquito. Make sure you have enough time to write this down. Okay, so vamos a practicar con unos ejemplos y después tengo una actividad para ustedes. Okay, so no comer demasiado. So demasiado in español means too much. So don't eat too much. So el verbo is comer. So remember, you put it in the yo form, you drop the o, and you add the opposite ending. No comas demasiado. Perfecto. Cuidado, no tirar la cadena. El verbo es tirar, which means to pull. In this context, though, it means to flush. So tirar, tiro, you drop the o, you add the opposite ending. Cuidado, no tires la cadena. Careful, don't flush the toilet. Inodoro is the word for toilet. Baño is bathroom. No beber más de 2 tazas de café. El verbo es beber. Poner en el forma yo. Deja el o. So no bebas más de 2 tazas de café. Don't drink more than 2 cups of coffee. Hopefully you guys have a little bit better of an idea. So go ahead, you guys. There are 6 preguntas en la actividad. So pay attention. They're going to ask you for regular affirmative to commands and also negative to commands. You have to pay attention whether there's a no in front of it in order to make it affirmative or negative. So I'll just give you guys a little bit of time to do that, and I'll come back with las respuestas. Número 1. Por favor, Pablo, entra al edificio. No vayas a salir ahora. Número 2. Por favor, sube las escaleras. No bajes antes de ayudarme. Número 3. Prepara la lista de las compras. Olvida los limones. So this is muy interesante. So this says prepare the grocery list. Forget the limes or lemons. So limones is the same for lime and lemons in Spanish. They don't have a different word. Número 4. Usa la tarjeta de crédito. No pierdas el recibo. So use the credit card. Don't lose the receipt. Número 5. Conduce con cuidado. No corras. So hopefully you guys were paying attention to whether the command had to be affirmative or negative, because that makes a big difference. Número 6. Escoge los vegetales con cuidado. No traigas muchas naranjas. So escoger means to choose. So choose the vegetables with care and don't bring too many oranges. So hopefully this gives you a better idea of -2 commands, and it was a good review of affirmative commands. Remember, if you're having issues or problems, now is a great time in the semester to contact me so I help get you caught up. Que tenga buen día y nos vemos pronto. Ciao.